Welcome to the podcast Selling Real Estate with Kelly Cook, where we will discuss the latest and most relevant business strategies to help you do one thing extremely well: sell more homes. We'll discuss everything from business planning to lead generation and conversion to past client customer service and everything in between. Join us for authentic conversations and nuts and bolts takeaways you can implement into your business today. And now, Selling Real Estate with Kelly Cook.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Selling Real Estate with Kelly Cook. As always, we have Kelly. He is back from vacation, ready to give you some knowledge on real estate. Kelly, how are you doing today?
Oh, I'm doing great.
Refreshed, I hope.
Yes, refreshed. It's good to go on a little break, and it's a longer break actually because we went around for the Mountain West and drove about 4,000 miles. Got to see some really cool sites. Kids loved it. So yeah, we're back ready to rock and roll and drop some knowledge on a kind of a newer thing in real estate right now that more and more teams and brokerages are doing. So this is an exciting topic.
Yes, absolutely. Today we are going to be talking about starting up your own concierge service, which a lot of places, like what did we say, Open Door, are kind of using this format. And I think it's really important right now as we're all, struggling. I don't know if I want to say struggling, but really having to search a little bit harder for those seller leads, right? Than
Yes.
maybe we have in the past. Just not as many people are as open to selling their homes right now. And like I said on a previous episode, this is really bringing out a lot of creativity, and I think it's awesome that we're having to look past the traditional methods of getting sellers or getting buyers into homes, and really stretch our creativity. So that's what we're talking about today, a concierge program that you can start up within your own team to kind of win over some more of those sellers. So let's get into it. Kelly, what is it all about?
Okay, yeah, let's talk about this. So we have this on our own team here, right, at the Kelly Cook Real Estate Group here in Scottsdale, Arizona. And it's another tool in your tool belt, what it is, right? Because man, we always talk about being the hub, right? Right, that little center of all the spokes in the wheel for everything, right? When it comes to real estate. So your clients hopefully will rely on you to be their resource for anything they need real estate related. And that's how you keep in touch with them throughout the 7 years on average it takes them to buy and sell another house. And that's how you provide value to them, right? So this is just another way to do that. It's also another way to obviously get listings and win listings. There are brokerages like you mentioned. You mentioned Open Door and OfferPad. Those are companies and iBuyers, right? But you also have Compass and Redfin offering something similar to that. And now even Keller Williams is starting to roll out their own program when it comes to this as well, to try to help their agents compete. That's what it's all about, competing, right? Well, on our own team, we have our own program as well. So what this is, guys, is when you go on a listing appointment, we all know that a house that is turnkey, upgraded, remodeled, ready to go is always going to fetch a lot more money. People pay a premium for convenience, right? So that being said, there are many times where I know you guys are on listing appointments, and as is value of a property might be, say, $400,000, right? $400,000. But you look around, you're doing the walk through the house, and you realize that, man, if they remodel this thing, maybe fully or partially, that they could get a lot more money for the property, because there are 2 other comps, 3, 4, 5 other comps, whatever, that are remodeled like this house, and they all went for $545, or whatever, right? Or $540 or $530, and that's a lot more than 400. So maybe if I put in 40,000, I could get 540, thus making $100,000 more net, obviously minus cost, in the seller's pocket. So
that's an ROI.
That's an ROI, right? But a lot of sellers may not have the A, knowledge of what to do, B, the trades, the contractors to actually get it done correctly and on budget, on time, and 3, the money, right? They need to sell a house to get the money illiquidated, right? Or liquidated, I should say, and then move on and to buy the next house, whatever it may be. So it's tied up in the property. So that's where we come into play as problem solvers. Now, this is separate from the commission. Okay, so you establish a commission that they will pay when they sell for your services. All right. And that's a whole nother podcast on that. But that's separate. That is over here. You set that aside. Now the pitch is, hey, Mr. Seller, we have a concierge program in which we will actually partner with you. We'll provide the resources, meaning the contractor, the game plan, the strategic plan, and the money to put in $40,000 worth of upgrades, because we know right now, I know, knowing this neighborhood, knowing the city, knowing the zip code, whatever it is, that if I do these 7 things, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, that we will be able to get 540 for your house. 540. Yeah. I mean, look right here. And this is how I know, because blah, 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 blah. It's comps or whatever, right? Specialized knowledge of the neighborhood, whatever you have. So they go, well, holy cow. Yeah, but I don't have $40,000. That's where we come into play too. Not only do we have the contractors and the logistics and everything set up turnkey, we also have the money we will front to then allow you to get this done. Now, obviously, you're going to have to live, or maybe you have an apartment or a friend you can go stay with. I don't know, but you have to live with the remodeling while it's happening. But the good news is, we'll partner with you, put up all the money, and then when you sell, we partner with you 50-50 to where you get half the profit, we get half the profit. And that's the deal. So there's not a seller right now in the world that should turn that down, right? Unless they just are completely adverse to having other people in their house working while they're living there, right? For whatever reason. But from a financial standpoint, it makes all the sense in the world, especially if you're confident, and you have to be confident as the agent that you can get a certain dollar amount above, what the cost will be to remodel the property.
Right, because they already might be planning on spending their profit on the house on their down payment for their next house. So it has
That's
to
right.
be at a certain level of how much more they're going to get.
Right. So you can obviously, from a capital standpoint, you can use your own if you have your own money to help people do this, right? You can find an investor. Guys, there are plenty of people out there that would that have money they'd like to invest and make a return. This is a no-brainer, because if the data supports a higher price and you can defend that all day long, and you have the experience of selling in that zip code or neighborhood, then there's not an investor. That's a very low risk proposition for that investor, right? They can obviously get that money, put that money up, and they can make a nice return. We're talking about in the time it takes to remodel a house. And it may not even be a full remodel. It could be 2 months, could be 3 months, right? But usually not longer than that. Then what you do is you have the seller sign a promissory note to you or whoever's putting the money up, right? That they owe you that money, and they will make a commitment to you that once the job is complete, the renovation is complete, they will sell the house at quote unquote market value within 3 months of that job being complete. Now, well, what's market value, Kelly? Great question. We define it as this. Market value is obviously a mutual agreement between the agent and the seller that they will sell the house for and what it's worth. Okay, well, what if the seller thinks it's higher than what you do based on your data? That could happen. By the way, does that ever happen in real estate? Yeah, all the time, right? Every seller thinks the house is worth way more than it really is, right?
Their emotions are worth a lot, right? Their emotions are
absolutely. their blue paint in their second bedroom is worth just a ton of money, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So in that situation, if there cannot be an agreement on what the market value is, then it'll be defined by an appraisal from a neutral third-party appraiser and paid for by the seller. So you have the terms all laid out. You then file a lien against the property for the money that you put into the property, and that lien will earn interest in the event the seller decides not to sell. Now, so far this has never happened, but the seller decided not to sell and kind of quote unquote screw you on this deal, that could happen. And that's tough legally to make somebody try to sell their house, right? That agreement. So worst case scenario would be that if they did that, that money would be tied up in the property, and unfortunately, you just can't get it out until they actually do sell, because at some point they will sell. Maybe 20 years down the road, but they will sell, right? And there'll be a lien that will be adding interest up, right? And that will be accruing that entire time. That could just get to be a really big number, right? But your interest is secured by the property, right? That property hopefully won't go down 300 grand in value over the course of 20 years, right? If anything, it should go up over 20 years, right? So that interest should keep pace with the appreciation that you set in the agreement, ideally. So that's how you do it, guys. That's another tool in your tool belt, and a way that not only the seller can make a good amount more money potentially, but so can you, in addition to the fees that you charge for your services of actually selling the property when that time comes. So excellent program to have. And let us know. I mean, you got to be able to compete in this market, and landscape is changing all the time. That's why we love doing this podcast, to bring you the most cutting edge techniques and strategies that we're doing, that we're seeing and we're hearing about, right? And we're not thinking about all this stuff, right? There's other people that are paving the way that are smarter than me. But I am really good at listening and
implementing,
duplicating.
Yes, exactly. And yeah, like we said, this is just another, we're needing to add all of these different things, right? I mean, a good real estate agent is always going to be number one, right? You have to be good at what you do, be the expert in your market, and be that trusted advisor. But right now, even that is just being that right now isn't quite enough to get where you need, right? So so adding in all of these things as options is, kind of what you have to do right now. And that's a great one. I think is really, really cool to be able to offer to your clients. But
100%.
If you guys have questions on this or anything else real estate related, or you're thinking about starting your very own team so that you can implement this on a wide scale, Kelly, where can they go for that?
Yeah, absolutely. So, hey, you just go to buildyourrealestateteam.com. Really simple. Buildyourrealestateteam.com. Download the white paper. Get the modules. Get the succinct steps of what it takes to go from module 1 to module 7 in terms of how you appropriately build your team, so that you don't make the mistakes that I did. Right?
Yeah, avoid those. He made a lot of mistakes. So.
Oh yeah, too many, too many.
But perfect. And if you have any other questions about any of this other stuff, what Kelly's doing with his concierge program, or any of the other stuff that he's talked about that he's doing that's really cool and awesome, or if you guys want to hear us talk about anything else, Kelly, where can they reach you directly?
Yeah, absolutely. On my cell, you can always text a call. I love when people do that. 480-227-2028. Or you can email at info@kellycookhomes.com, and we'll get back to you at least within 24 hours.
At least, probably right away. Kelly's just sitting around waiting for these. So
that's right. That's right.
All right, guys. Well, after our hiatus of a couple of weeks while Kelly was out exploring the Mountain West, we will be back next week with another great topic for you guys. See ya. Bye, Kelly.
Love it. See you guys. See ya. Welcome to the podcast Selling Real Estate with Kelly Cook, where we will discuss the latest and most relevant business strategies to help you do one thing extremely well: sell more homes. We'll discuss everything from business planning to lead generation and conversion to past client customer service and everything in between. Join us for authentic conversations and nuts and bolts takeaways you can implement into your business today. And now, Selling Real Estate with Kelly Cook.